The biggest thing that we can do is not let a moment pass, that every moment is an opportunity for us to make an impact. I found myself in a situation where I was rushed, I didn't have time, and I come into the hallway with a whole bunch of students ready to come in my room, and they go, "What is the N-word a bad word?" And I freeze. Rather than rushing through that and trying to brush it off because it was uncomfortable, I sat there for a second and I worked through this awkward moment of what can I say, and my response, maybe it wasn't perfect, but I finally had an awareness that this wasn't something I should just brush over. It was an opportunity to make an impact, and not just one student, but a group of students standing there saying, "Is this something that you're going to deal with?" And in the past, it maybe would have been easier to just carry on with my day, focus on the work, but really equity is in everything we do, and that should be the heart of what we're doing in the school.
Most educators, I think, believe it's difficult to talk about race, and especially in the classroom.
It is difficult to talk about race and bias, especially when you're talking about it amongst your coworkers.
I think a lot of educators feel that when they are acknowledging something like race, they may inadvertently offend people, or they may be coming across as judging or biased or racist, and so to avoid that, they just don't talk about it at all.
Our personal biases and prejudices are like a hair across our cheek. You can't find it, you can't see it, you can't feel it with your fingers, but it's there and it's irritating.
I grew up a DoD dependent. I think I did 7 different countries, 12 different schools.
I went to an all-black school. There was no white kids in our schools, only white teachers. So, until they start segregating the schools and stuff, I didn't know what it was to go to school with white kids.
Every student and every adult in every one of our 27 schools are the product of their own environment. They've learned the attitudes that they have, and the prejudices, preconditions, implicit biases that they have are a result of the environment in which they grew up.
There's things that I do sometimes that I don't realize could be offending when I think I'm being polite and politically correct.
Over a period of time, as people have the opportunity to see a greater vision of what life is like for other people, they can change their worldview about how they treat and think about other people.
It's boring to know just one culture. You want to learn it. I get excited knowing that I have mixed and mingled with people all over the world, and it has brought me to the point where I am now, so accepting of more than just my race.
When we first began the conversation about implementing equity teams in Bethel School District, the same question came up over and over. How can our words, what we say we value, translate into actions that could result in a positive educational experience for all of our students in Bethel?
Phase 1 was learning about ourselves and learning about our own biases and things that are causing us to hesitate.
And our teams work hard to look at what they are doing and what their practice is in the classroom. So as they're backwards planning, they're thinking about what do all students need? And that might be something different for everyone in the classroom.
Our work has really been about discovering our own biases. It's been about learning about ourselves and what we may not know about the things that we bring to the classroom and the things that come out in our teaching. And when we better understand those pieces, we're able to better deliver the core curriculum to meet their needs and become stronger learners.
When I make a seating chart, if I have 2 African American students, did I intentionally put them next to each other because I thought they could interact with each other and they would have more in common, or was it because of academics or behavior, or how did that happen? And really making sure that I understand why I placed my students where I placed them, instead of randomly putting them there, or putting them there not thinking about the fact that the other impact besides in my classroom, what kind of impact that would have on the kids.
Before children can learn, they have to know that they are not only in a safe environment, but one that's welcoming and actually wants them to be there for all the right reasons.
It's amazing how a child can tell when you don't believe in them. And when you don't believe in them, they won't raise to the standard.
Equity work is hard and it's messy. And it's most often what troubles teachers and members of the equity team. They want a quick fix, a tool to take right back into the classroom and fix the inequities that are there. That's just not how it works. We spend time in the equity team talking about being comfortable in our discomfort.
The conversations are uncomfortable because we haven't had the experiences and the lived experiences that our students of color and staff of color have, but we have to have them. Otherwise, nothing's gonna change.
I had a student who, and I can't remember the culture, but I do remember that the culture, the boys were not supposed to look women in the eye. And so teachers are always saying, look me in the eye when I'm talking to you, and I had to be very careful. And we had a really good understanding. He was a sweet boy, super student, but I just had to be careful not to force him to look me in the eye because that was a cultural expectation.
Every one of our students has the ability to achieve. When they change their mindset, it now calls the children to change their achievement and to change their effort, because the adults that they were now sitting under now believed in them. They now had a benchmark for them to reach. And what we don't understand is children are very resilient. They will not only meet the expectation, but they will exceed the expectation, which causes me to ask the question, what am I expecting from my students?
That may mean giving some students extra help, additional opportunities. But if that's what's needed to level the playing field and give them equal opportunities for success, then that's what we need to do.
Kids who may have been previously earmarked as someone who is a behavior problem, but really they're struggling because they are not able to access the content, be it maybe due to social emotional needs or maybe socioeconomic status.
We all talk about second chances, but many times our students make a mistake in elementary school, make a mistake in middle school, and when they get in the classroom, although we don't do it intentionally, we know what that record is and we hold them to it. And they can tell when they're being held to it, and it gives a perception and a feeling like I can never get under the thumb of a bad decision. I can never get from under the thumb of a bad situation that took place. And so they're not able to achieve to that level because they don't feel like the person that's teaching them believes in them. And if you don't believe in me, then I'm never going to live up to your expectations.
We really have wanted to look at classroom practices, so equitable classroom practices, so that's kind of been a focus this year, to take away some practical things that they can go while they're working with students, even some small things here or there that's just about making connections with kids and making sure all are feeling invited to participate in the conversation, making sure we're following up with students if they're struggling. So just different strategies to do that, and equity teams have really helped us focus on some of those strategies.
It's giving me ideas on how I can deal with difficult situations, how to be more aware of what I can do, and now I'm finding that my frustration over the situation is lessened because now I have some plans of action, and I feel I can make a positive impact now instead of just kind of spinning my wheels.
It's a way to make sure that all the adults in the building have a place to go to reaffirm and to ensure that they have the best ideas about how to make sure our students feel valued and welcomed, regardless of what background they may have, what socioeconomic status, nationality, race, gender identity, whatever it happens to be. We want all of them to be successful, and in order for that to occur, students need to be supported honestly by all the adults in the building.
I think any work that we can do personally around topics of empathy results in the world being a better place.
In year 2, we'll begin identifying how we can implement culturally responsive instruction in the classroom, sharing with the entire staff and stepping out in courage to have conversations that we, perhaps in the past, were hesitant to have. We are looking to build the capacity for instructional practices and serve as role models for others in our school. In year 3, it's prioritizing our next steps, reflecting on our practices and policies, studying them with a lens of equity in the classroom to really make a difference for our kids. We'll also lead and provide training to the entire staff and that exciting piece of community engagement, providing a place where parents, students, and staff can come together.
This last year being on the equity team, it's been very educational, and it has allowed me to be more open and be more, take more risk with talking about it, and it's been a really good year.
I'm really enjoying being on the equity team, and it's definitely opening my mind to what I don't know. And that's a huge first step. It was really hard to admit that I just don't know.
The key thing for me, the key takeaway for me is that, and it's going to sound really simple when I say this, but that I've come to better understandings of things that I haven't understood.
Working with an equity team changed the game for me about how I teach. I learned very quickly through a couple of the lessons, but also the survey we did, how to get to know my people and how to appreciate them and how to work their cultures into the classroom.
It's, I think, instrumental that we reach out and do the work that we're doing in our equity teams.
Being part of the equity team has given me more confidence and more comfort engaging in conversations, which I might not have seen an opportunity for otherwise. For example, if I work with a teacher and I notice that maybe the curriculum that they're working with is presenting more doors and windows to students than it is mirrors. In other words, if the curriculum's not reflecting the students that they have in the classroom, I feel comfortable now kind of broaching that subject and saying, like, let's talk about these materials that your students are getting, and maybe we can mix those up or add things so that they better reflect the students you have in your classroom.
It's also been important to me as a coworker to be able to talk to other people that I work with and help them maybe see things from a different perspective, how something they may have said was offensive to a student or a parent. That might not have been their intention, but there is implicit bias there. And if you come at it from a more nurturing and caring perspective, they're more receptive.
Equity is not an event. It's a journey. It's a growth mindset. Today I'm here in my journey, but tomorrow I'll be here. And the equity team stands side by side in that process.